Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. It is the last of the month, so that means it is time to rank the palettes that I have used this month. And guess what? I have got a lot of palettes. You're probably going to ask, how did I use that many palettes this month? Well, I'll tell you how. I've got upwards of 29, 30 palettes that I use. These are eyeshadow palettes too. And palettes that I used this month. And I'll tell you exactly how I used that many palettes. Well, I did a lot of videos for one thing, but then I did go on vacation, so there were times I didn't do videos. But I went on vacation somewhere. I went to Las Vegas, and I wore a lot of makeup when I was in Vegas. I did makeup twice a day, most days, for daytime and then for evening looks. So I would do makeup twice a day, and so I used a lot of makeup then. And so I would use 2 different palettes for the amount of time I was gone. And then sometimes I would do 2 videos a day. Like I would do a video in the morning and then I would do a live stream in the afternoon. So there were times I would use 2 palettes in one day that way. So yeah, that's how I ended up using all of these palettes. And it's also there were some days where I would film 2 videos in one day. Like if I was doing a collab, I would make that video ahead of time, so then I would film my video for that day in the morning, then I would film the collab video later on in the afternoon, things like that. That's how I ended up with so many palettes. So if you're interested in seeing all the palettes that I used this month and how I ranked them, then hang tight, we're getting into it. Okay, I counted 28 palettes, but 2 of the palettes I used at one time. So we're going to go through 27 palettes, I believe. I will mark them down below here. So we shall go ahead and start. At the bottom of the pile, my least favorite palette that I used this month was kind of shocking to me, was the Colourpop Troublemaker palette. This is a new palette in my collection too. I am going to keep working on this palette though, and this, like I said, this is what she looks like. It is a purple palette, it is, but there's not very many light tones in it. There's a lot of mid-tones in it, and it didn't blend that great. That's my notes here. All the shades are mid-tone shades, and there's not really, I guess this is a dark shade, but that's a shimmer shade. Yeah, I guess this is the darkest shade here, but I wish I had a darker purple in it, really. The shade I made was really muddy looking, mainly because all the colors were hold tight. All the colors were kind of the same. I mean, it does have some really cool shimmers in it, but let's move right on along. The next one in the ranking is the Lorde quad. It doesn't have a name on it. Really cute quad, and I love it when they have these little sponge applicators in it. This one, I can only make one look with it, and it's a nice look. But this little green shimmer right here doesn't want to stay on my lid. I mean, it does make a good look. I do like the look that it makes. And but this, there goes the applicator. This white shade doesn't do anything for me. So it's basically these 3 shades. It's these 2 shades and this shimmer right here. So this is just a setting shade basically, which a lot of people like, but I'm not really into it. But these 3 shades make a really cute, but like I said, the green, I have to reapply it if I'm going to be wearing it for longer than a few hours. So, and into the evening or whatever. So, but I have better palettes out there. Okay, This may be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it anyway. I am not a huge fan of this palette. It is the Saints Angel Sinners Cosmetics Yummy palette. Now, I will say these duochromes and multichromes up here are excellent quality. I absolutely love them, but I'm not a big fan, and their shimmers are okay. I'm not a big fan of the mattes though. I don't think they are as good as they can be. They are just okay. And I like mattes. I like mattes to be of just as good a quality as their shimmers and their multichromes. So I remember when I used to use this look for a couple of colors, and the look I made was okay with. I was making a rainbow look. The colors I used were okay, but I wish they were more pigmented. So that is why this is lower down. If I was using it more for the multichromes, yeah, this would have ended up being a lot higher on the list. But as I used it for the mattes, and they were just okay. Okay, the next one. I did like this palette, this Ladybug Glow palette. I did make some cute looks with it, but it's not for your everyday looks. It's kind of hard to make a cohesive look with this palette. These are excellent duochromes. Love those. Multichromes. Sometimes I can't tell the difference between a multichrome and a duochrome, but these, I'm just going to call them duochromes, were very nice duochromes. They were beautiful. But mixing and blending with this was okay. I just liked other palettes better. That's really all it came down to. I like this. It's not going anywhere in my collection. I'm definitely keeping it. But it's just for making fun looks with. Same as with this palette. It is the Bonfire palette by Rajabi Cosmetics. I just used this yesterday in a palette roulette. What did I rate that? It's a cute palette. I like it. It's a fall palette. I usually like that. And it's good for making some fun looks with. Not everyday looks. Just some fun looks. The mattes, they're not super pigmented on here. And it's an interesting color story. It's kind of a hard color story, but it's interesting to play with. And I would love to play with it some more, definitely. It'll probably end up higher on the list if I played with it some more. I'm going to pull it out again, if I remember. I'm going to pull it out again in October, November, around that time. That's when I got it, was last year around that time. Okay, the next one I got was the Ace Beauty Smoky Roses. I did a collab with Andy Does Stuff with this. Liked the look that I did with this. It was like a soft purple look. Not too unlike the one I did today with another palette that I'll be bringing out that's higher on the list. But the color story on this just isn't my vibe. I don't know how often I'm going to pick this up, but I did like the quality on this one a lot. Really did. And I really did like the look that I came up with this one. So, yeah. I'm probably going to pull this out more on a Shop My Stash. Probably wouldn't pull it out just on my own. But, yeah. Probably not really my favorite. What did I write down? Interesting color story. I think I need to play with it more. I think that's a fair assumption. Okay. An Ace Beauty palette I like better is the Nostalgia palette. And it is very fun for making summer looks with. I can make a nice sunset look. You can make a nice sunrise look with this. What did I write? Great color story and great formula. Not an everyday wearable palette. I think the Smoky Roses would make a more wearable palette, but I like using this for collabs. I use this more for collabs and making Instagram looks. I just love having colorful palettes around for those kinds of things. and making when I do my shorts and my TikTok looks and things around that nature. So yeah, I'm more likely to pull out this one than the Smoky Roses one. Because if I want an everyday look, I've got lots of other palettes that I would pull before I pull out the Smoky Roses one. Okay, one palette that I do pull out a lot when I am looking for an everyday look is the Half Baked palette, the Urban Decay Naked palette, Half Baked. This is one I took on vacation with me and used for a daytime look. It is, I've shown y'all this lots of times. I love the packaging on it. Well, great for a daytime look. Go anywhere look. The shimmers are great. Mattes work and blend beautifully. It's a classic palette. It's just one you buy and you take when you go traveling. So great for that. Okay, then we have the, before the Half Baked palette. I messed up. Half Baked palette. Wait for that. Before the Half Baked palette, I wanted to throw in the Unearthly Cosmetics Not Normal palette. I just did a live stream with the Gourmand Girls with that. This was a Use It or Lose It palette, and I decided to keep it. So this one, another palette that I wouldn't really use to make everyday looks with. Well, with the purples, I probably could pull it off. With this, and this color, I probably could pull off an everyday look. But I made a nice look that I liked with it. So yeah, I am going to keep this palette in rotation. I like Unearthly Cosmetics. I do think they have updated their formula from this, which I would be really happy to hear that if that were true. So yeah, and then here is where you would put the Naked Half Baked palette. Okay, next I have the Gourmand Girls and the Saints Angel Centers palette. I like this palette a lot more. Let's see, what did I use this for? I think this was just in my Shop My Stash, I think. It has some great it has this duochrome in it, which I love. And Gourmand Girls just came out with a new palette that I would really like to get, but I don't know if I'm going to get it anytime soon or anything like that. But again, purples, greens, it has these blues in it, the pinks. This color right here is really awesome. I don't think it needs this black though in it, because it's the only dark color in it. That's one thing. I wish it had some darker shades. That's the only thing. The more darker shades other than the black. But the black you can use to darken up some of the shades. Sure, you can use that. But I really like this palette a lot. But there are lots more I like more than that palette. Okay, another Use It or Lose It palette that I decided to keep was the Colourpop Cabana Club. This has lots of nice summer, springy shades in it as well. It has the dark shades. It has the bright and light shades in it. This right here, this blue and this orange, are the only colors that I can't really seem to wrap my head around why they are there. I guess this blue, if you're using this blue, and you can use this orange all in one, but let's cover up those three shades. And then you just have this palette, this 9-pan palette right here. It just needed to be a 9-pan palette. And yeah, I used these shades right here, and I just ignored these shades over here. That's what you have to do sometimes when you have a palette. What did I write? Had this up for Use It or Lose It. Definitely want to keep it. The color story kind of puzzled me. And I kept hearing that it wasn't a very pigmented palette, but it is very pigmented. You can make more simple looks from this, especially if you cover up those three colors. And glad I tried it out before getting rid of it because, yeah, that's what I say in kept saying in my palette collection was like, yeah, I don't know about this palette, but I would like to try it again. Okay, what is on my eyes today is the Hit Dot Zion palette. I pulled this out for Shop My Stash and wanted to use it, and yeah, I came up with a really pretty purple look today. There's nothing special about this palette. There's no duochromes, no multi-chromes in it. It's just a bunch of neutral colors. I call it neutral. It's neutral to me. So it's got some muted oranges, some muted purples, some muted pinks in it. So yeah, and it's got this actual neutrals in it. So yeah, it just makes a really good look that you can just want to put a little bit of color in your day. I think they still make this palette. This is one of their few palettes that is not a collaboration palette. So yeah. And then similar to the, what palette did I say this was similar to? I said it was similar to the Nostalgia palette, but a little less colorful, is the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. This is not the Sunset palette. The Sunset palette is more expensive, but this is the Sunrise palette. Again, you've got more. This is very colorful, by the way. These colors look a little more muted, but they are very colorful. The mattes are very colorful, so are the shimmers in it. So again, you can make a nice sunset look, a nice sunrise look. I really enjoyed using this palette a lot. There's just palettes I like more than that. Okay, the next one is this C3PO palette, which I took on vacation with me. If you've been on my channel, you know I love yellows, golds, and browns together. This is very similar. I actually cut out my Wannabe palette the other day and looked at it. And the Wannabe palette is a little darker than this palette. It has more browns in it. But I think they both have this color in it. But I really like this palette a lot. I liked using it a lot. Definitely going to be pulling this out more as time goes on. Okay, the two palettes that I use together and that are next on the list are the Darth Vader and Star Wars palettes from Colourpop. I don't know, I just can't use one without using the other one. I just like using, I love using this color right here. And I love using this taupey shade, I guess you would call it, right there. And I really like using, I love using either this special shade or this special shade right here. And I guess I like using this red here as well, or this deep wine color, whatever you want to call it there. I love making that look, and yeah, that's like the look I do with these two palettes. So yeah, what did I say about it? Absolutely in love with the looks that I get from these two palettes together. I'll even wear it in the daytime. I'll wear that look during the day. So yeah, just love the look I do with these. Okay, you might be a little surprised because this was at the very top of my list last month. It is the Violet Voss Sunkissed palette. The only reason it's so far down on the list this time is because I only used it once. And the look I did with it, I don't know, it wasn't as spectacular as the looks that I did last month with it. But it was still a great look. It was just a little more muted. I don't think I used these colors here when I made the look. But I still absolutely love the look I did with it. And it's still pretty, where is it? In the middle, top two. Well, anyway, you see the number. Okay, it's still up there. The next palette is the Onzai Alva palette. I am so glad I pulled this into rotation because I remembered this palette not being that great. That was my memory of it. But when I pulled it out and used it, oh my gosh, I don't know why I thought I wouldn't like it. I love these colors. And yeah, some of their shimmers are a little glittery and they have some fallout, but I don't know. It was just really beautiful, beautiful looks with it. I just absolutely fell in love. What did I say? The color story is up my alley. I made a beautiful look. We'll definitely bring it out more. Maybe I'm ready to finally try more from this brand because they put out stuff so regularly. Not like Colourpop regularly, but they put out stuff quite frequently. And I only have this and the Hella palette. So maybe I should look into this brand some more. I don't know. Definitely should give it another try. Next, I have the Blend Bunny Blends palette. It's just so high up here because I use it a lot for collabs. And it is just so darn good and blendable. It's all mattes, but, you know, I don't use it on, like, for daytime looks or even nighttime looks, really. I just pull it out when I'm doing colorful, mostly collab looks, but it never, ever lets me down. And yeah, blends seamlessly, bright colors, great formula. You know, everything I could ask for in a rainbow palette. So yeah, definitely recommend that if you're looking for a rainbow palette with no shimmers in it. Okay, what is next? Next is the Smoky Roses palette by Colourpop. This is a new palette for me. I got it, I think, when they were having a sale, and I couldn't pass it up because I've always wanted this palette. Oh my gosh. And yeah, I'm going to pull this out and pull out another palette here and do a comparison. Not today, but at some point. And all these colors, I love these rosy colors. I love pink, I love purple, but I really love pink. And yeah, okay, there is nothing to not like about this palette. Every palette from here on out is like up in my favorites, definitely. Okay, the next I did a palette roulette with. It was the Weekend Vibes Mimosa palette by BH Cosmetics. Gloria from Makeup and More with Gloria P gave this to me, and I love it. More pinks. I've got a collab I've got to do this weekend, and I've got to use pink, and I can't decide which pink palette I want to use. Okay, we have got this. It is beautiful. It's got one yellow in it. It's got an orange in it as well. And it's got a matte white that I absolutely love. I love putting matte white in my inner corners now. It's a tip that I got from Angelica. Y'all know Angelica. And she was absolutely right about putting matte white in your inner corners. It just makes your eyes absolutely pop. Okay, the next I took on vacation with me is the Juvias Place, the coffee shop palette. It's a great everyday palette for using. I think I made a nighttime look with this because the colors are very dark. There is a light shade here, but most of them, for the most part, are darker colors. And yeah, it makes a great night look and some great shimmers in it as well. A nice evening summer sultry smoky look. I didn't mean to say summer, I meant smoky. It can be used any time of year. So that is a great palette to have. The next is this palette. You know, if y'all saw my pack with me, you've seen a lot of these palettes. The next is the, oh, this smells like chocolate too. I didn't realize that until, well, I knew that, but on all these times of opening it, I kept forgetting. But this time I had it up to my nose. It smells like chocolate. Oh my gosh. This is the Tart Sweet Cravings palette. It looks like a box of chocolates. Oh my gosh, these shimmers are to absolutely die for. Like I said, it makes me want to buy more Tart things. I was like Too Faced. Isn't Too Faced things scented? The shimmers are out of this world amazing. They're not too metallic. They are just right, and it blends like a dream. That's what I wrote down about it. Next, I rated it very high, and I never thought that I would love this palette when I got it. I got it in a BoxyCharm, and a BoxyCharm Premium, and I never thought I would like it. It was the Mercury Retrograde by Huda Beauty. I remember before I owned this palette, I thought, why would anybody want that palette? It's so weird. But like I said, if I cover up these shades right here, it's a perfect neutral palette. And I used this a couple of different times when I was in Vegas. And yeah, you can make beautiful looks with it. Even using these colors, you can make beautiful looks with it. Some people may only want to use those colors up there. So yeah, I am absolutely in love with this palette. Love it so much. Okay, we are down to the final 4. Next, I have my Nomad Royal Europe palette. I don't remember what I used this for. I made some kind of look that I was absolutely fell in love with. And I have it on here. What is it? Definitely one of my favorite Nomad palettes. I can come up with some very colorful, sultry looks with this. Definitely looks for a fun night out or doing a fun collab or Instagram look or TikTok look. The multi-chromes. I think it's so high up here because of the freaking multi-chromes. Love it. That is pretty, because, I mean, I wish there were some more lighter shades in it. I do, but you cannot beat these multi-chromes in here. Granted, I haven't tried a lot of the higher priced multi-chromes like from Cleona and JD Glow and stuff like that. I don't have that kind of budget. But for what I own, these are probably the best multi-chromes that I have seen. So yeah, every time I use this palette, it is going to end up pretty high up. Okay, the palette I said looks like the Smoky Roses palette is the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism palette. And these are a little more metallic looking, and it may go a little darker too. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that video, maybe I won't. I don't know. But this is definitely, I would pick this over the Smoky Roses palette still, because I think this formula is a little bit better than the Colourpop formula, the Lunar Beauty. This is the only Lunar Beauty palette that I own, by the way, but I think it is definitely the one to own if you're going to own one, especially if you like neutrals. These are nice rosy neutrals. I love this color. Bloom for You, this dark, deep, I'm just going to say wine color. It's a wine color, and love this color. Cherry Blossom and this color Apricot. Love Sakura. Love all of these colors, and you cannot beat these shimmers. They are not that metallic when you put them on your eyes. As I'm getting a little older, I'm not really into the high shine metallics anymore, and these are really nice. Okay, I know I've been pulling this palette out a lot lately, but it is definitely, had to clean it, definitely probably one of my favorites in my collection. It is the McGrath Mothership 9, the Utopian Dream. Let's see, that's what the name of it is. I don't know. It's Mothership 9. And when I had a chance to buy a Mothership on sale, this is the one I picked. This is the one I've always wanted. So yeah, I don't think that I want another Mothership palette. I mean, it is probably the best formula-wise that I have in my collection, but I really don't have any desire to buy anything else Pat McGrath, really. So yeah, anytime I pull that into my Shop My Stash, or however it ends up in my monthly ranking, it's always going to be up there at the top. I can make one of my favorite going out looks with this palette, so that's why it ends up so high. Okay, number one, and probably it is definitely my favorite purple palette in my collection, is the Levo Cosmetics. This is the Night Flower palette. I love making purple looks with this palette. They always come out so stunning looking. It just edged out Pat McGrath a little bit because I love purple so much. And yeah, I just pulled this for Shop My Stash. I don't think I took this on vacation or anything like that. I just really like purple. What did I say? My most favorite purple eyeshadow palette. Is always such a joy to use this palette. It will always top my list. I love Levo Cosmetics. And yeah, that pretty much sums it up, you guys. So that is my palette ranking for the month of June 2023. Let me know if you have any of these palettes, what you think of them down below in the comment section. Let me know anything. Let me know how you're doing today. I would love to know. And give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Share it with your friends. Anything you can to engage with this video would really help me out, get me out to other viewers like yourself. But just watching this video to this point really helps me out. I greatly appreciate you. And to all my subscribers, I appreciate you as well. If you are new here, hi, hello, welcome. I would love it if you would consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell, setting it to all so that you're notified every time that I upload a new video. So I hope you are all having a wonderful, fantastic, amazing day out there today. If you are having an especially hard time, know that I am thinking about you. I'm sending you out all of those good vibes. Just remember to stay strong, stay healthy, and stay safe out there. And I will see you in another video soon. Just stay well until then, okay? All right, goodbye.